For over a century now, Meadowlark Golf Course has been a key part of life in Huntington Beach and home to many colorful chapters of its history. But is it possible that Meadowlark's most iconic landmark might actually reveal insight into what this area was like thousands of years ago? I'm Chris Epting. History excites me, especially history that's waiting to be uncovered. I feel like a detective sometimes, sifting through clues, chasing down leads, and examining evidence. That's why I've written so many books about it. When you discover an untold story, it sparks the imagination, it connects you to the past, and sometimes it even helps you see into the future. Welcome to Hidden Huntington Beach.
Next on the number one tee, Meadowlark would like to welcome the Elder Group. Second up will be Valier, and third to the tee will be Lambert.
So Jordan, first of all, it's a big year for you here, 100 years old. Paint the picture, if you would, 100 years ago. Why did they choose this spot?
And it used to be all farmland right here. You get a sea breeze every day from the ocean. There's some days where you can see the ocean, but also you can see the mountains as well. That was a big selling point.
I mean, 1922,
Yeah.
so the city is really finding its way.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was very popular when it opened. I'm sure there were a lot of, wannabe golfers coming into the city at that point.
Still are, yeah.
Talk about who designed it, because it's a very notable name in terms of the history of why it's here.
Yeah, so William P. Bell designed it. He did a lot of courses in Southern California, and he did the same similar layout up at a Big Rec, Recreation 18 in Long Beach, and they were established originally as Virginia Country Club way before us, about 20 years before. And then so when they employed him to come down here, he kind of threw in the same flavor of small greens, domed greens, turtlebacks, kind of greens that are hard to make, approach shots on and definitely hard to make putts on, but making it tighter and more technical and including water, it just kind of changes the playability of the course.
And he designed Bel Air as well.
Mm-hmm.
This really is, one of his little jewels here, probably lesser known than some of the bigger ones, but still very notable. Now, we're standing here. Talk about why we're here at 3.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't know, this used to be the first tee box, and then what originally is 1 and 2 was 17 and 18, and that's how you finish the course, and you're right next to the clubhouse to, turn in your cart and things. I'm glad they changed the format, because starting with this long par 4 with water on the right, followed up by a really hard par 3 that's one of our most extreme turtlebacks on the course, is a tough way to start your round.
When did they change it?
Right when kind of the clubhouse was built. So I think it was 78 to 80.
What are some of the other hole changes?
13 and 16 used to be a conjoined green around that tree. And then 14 and 16 used to have water in front of them as water hazards, but we've dried that out, and it makes it a little bit quicker to play for some.
Was that why they dried it out?
And with having homes built there was a little bit of an issue of stagnant water as the club got older, and kind of, so we got rid of that, and now it's just grass. Number 7, our flagship par 3. Everybody knows number 7.
Why do they know 7? What is it about?
I feel like everybody that's played this course has lost a sleeve of balls on number 7. It's over the water, it's into the wind. It can play as 200, it can play 150. It's really tough for some of the mid-handicappers that play, and that kind of leads off our own Amen corner of having 7, 8, and 9 that are really technical holes that could just change your round. So you could lose it in the water 2 times in a row. You can, it could just destroy your round.
Well, Tom, you've been here working at Meadowlark for almost 20 years, right?
Yes, sir.
Where are we right now?
We are on hole number 7 of the historic Meadowlark Golf Club. Way back in the 1920s, 25, 30. The pros, this was one of their tour stops.
Really?
Yes, yeah. The pros would come here, they'd go out, they'd put a bunch of money into a bucket, and they'd go out and play. Winner took the bucket, the money.
And what's special about hole 7?
Hole 7 has gone through changes. When they decided to put the driving range in, they needed to do something. They needed more property, which they didn't have. It's actually made the golf course grow up a little bit. This used to be a long par 4.
So it's a par 3 now.
Par
it was
3
a par
now.
4, what, like I heard like back in the 50s?
At least 50, 51, 52.
And how was it set up? So where was the tee box back
The
then?
tee box is right behind us, right over there. It was up against that white wall.
So kind of the parking lot, pretty much.
Basically, pretty much.
So it was about another, what, 100 yards or so?
Oh, at least,
At
yeah.
least.
The hole played 294 yards.
Did you ever play it? When it was
I never played it.
By the way, somebody told me that today somebody hit a hole-in-one at this hole
They
today.
did.
Which is
They did.
incredible.
They had a hole-in-one here. This is probably the hardest hole in order to make a hole-in-one on.
Now, there's a story about, in terms of hidden history, what you refer to as the logo tree. If you look at the course logo,
Of course.
there's a tree, and there was a tree here until how long ago?
It was last year. So last year we got a lot of rain, really, really heavy, and then a lot of wind really quick. And unfortunately, it sits up on a really beautiful hill right on number 6 here. And it toppled over, and thank God no one was underneath it, because it was a huge tree that it basically toppled sideways onto our first tee box. So if anybody was in a cart right there, or if anybody was, it was lucky that no one was there. But yeah, and so that was a tragic loss for sure.
The trees are historic markers, and you've got hundreds of trees. And you were telling me that a lot of them go back to the beginning,
Absolutely, yeah.
which is incredible. So
Yeah.
you've got these trees that are now 100 years old, that tell their own story, that have grown with the course and provide not just beauty, but I'm sure strategically, as a non-golfer speaking, the trees are part of the course, obviously. You've got to play around them. So Jordan, we're now obviously in the middle of the course. Tell us exactly where we're standing and why.
Yeah, we're standing right in the middle of the fairway at number 9. It's a technical dog leg right, par 4, up into the clubhouse. And it just kind of showcases some of our really mature trees on our property that I would think predate our course layout.
Wow, so older than 100 years.
I would say so. I mean, this was what makes this hole very tough, is that these trees are so mature and so tall that from the back tee box where you tee off, and
Right.
this sits right on the corner of that par 4. So you have to either hit a big cut around them, or you have to hit out of bounds, or you hit straight into them and just hope for the best bounce.
What do you do? What's your strategy?
I try to hit a big cut. I try to avoid them and swoop it in front of the green up there and just have like 100 yards in. But
It's amazing. Until you come down here, you don't realize how big these trees are.
Of course.
The thing is massive. There's footage of Tiger Woods playing here.
he played here obviously as he was growing up. He was famous in the Long Beach scene for sure, and then he would come down here and practice here, play the course here and there, but I think he used more just the driving range and
Yeah.
instruction here.
The clubhouse that was there throughout the 1980s was kind of a mecca in the burgeoning Orange County punk scene,
Of course,
which
yeah.
is incredible too. And so that area is still there. I mean, the exact place where those bands play, bands like Social Distortion, TSOL, they all performed here.
Yeah, and I think that's a big important part of the history and kind of what diversifies us from other clubs. Is we've been
What other
around-
golf course can claim that Social Distortion played there?
Right. It was a very important kind of hub for, Orange County punk.
And for 100 years, this has been a place where a lot of local history has been made just by locals coming together,
Yeah.
playing together, having a drink together, eating together. It really is one of the only civic centers where people have been gathering for 100 years.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, and I think that's what, you can play random clubs around the area, but you can tell when you come here, there is a very tight-knit crowd of guys that play here all the time.
I've always felt that this was the center of the universe. The thing about this place that's so unique is that we've got a lot of good people here. And they're very loyal. They're loyal to Meadowlark. Not so much for the company itself or whatever management company is here or the city. They're loyal to Meadowlark. They take care of the employees. They take care of the staff. They take care of everybody. We have people here that's been here for 50, 60 years. They grew up here. They play here. Their children play here. Their grandchildren play here.
Second up will be the second group of Cooley. Third, we will have Doolittle.
Well, listen, congratulations again on 100 years for having us out here today. We're going to wander a bit. We're going to go in search and see if any of that logo tree still might exist somewhere.
That's it.
Well, we heard a rumor that it still existed, and this is it, right?
That's the tree.
This is the logo, the stump of the logo tree. Tom, how do you feel standing here right now next to this beloved, iconic tree that meant so much to you while it stood?
I get choked.
Yeah, I can tell.
I do. It's this place means the world to me. And the day it went down was probably one of the saddest days of my life. You know, everybody's got a story about this tree, and a lot of people miss it. This tree, I'm sure, has been here much longer than this golf course has been.
All right, so we need to help. We need to be part of saving this. You know, put it out in the open where people can celebrate the past.
Absolutely, yeah. Hopefully we can bring it back.
Well, I think that's the mission. Get this thing back out in the open. And it's a centennial. What a great year to kick off this project of maybe getting this back out in the public at a place where trees are so much a part of the story. Why not bring this incredible remnant back for people to enjoy?
Yeah.
Tom, thank you so much for leading us. We wouldn't have been here without you, man, so we appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you for watching Hidden Huntington Beach with Chris Epting. Thank you.
If you want more hidden history, check out our Facebook group, which is simply Hidden Huntington Beach. We've got over 15,000 members there sharing stories and home movies and all kinds of great things. So hope you enjoy that, and we'll see you soon. Another edition of Hidden Huntington Beach. This isn't about golf anymore. When you stand here next to the logo tree, and on this side, you see the roots. You know, this is the roots of Huntington Beach history right here. You know, as our eagle eye audio engineer Roland just pointed out, if you look in the dirt of the root system, you can see all of these seashells, which is really fascinating. And in my opinion, what that indicates is that, I mean, there was no shoreline that came up this far, I don't believe. To me, this would be more indicative of Native American midden or their basic trash heaps. We know that Native American, there was a skull found right adjacent, you know, dated more than 1,000 years old, right adjacent to the golf course. So what we see here, it's pretty incredible. A lot of seashells that were probably brought up here, food sources and whatnot, and you see midden piles throughout the wetlands. Midden piles are just these collections of old shells, and there's a lot of them in here. This tree, and arguably much of the golf course, probably sits on land that was occupied by Native Americans thousands of years ago. It's a wonderful observation.